Hey everyone, Kim here, Abundant Life Tarot, and we are doing a quick updates and revisit of two cases that I covered under Mystery Mystic Mondays and Mystery Mystic Musings. This is where I do readings exploring the energies surrounding a mysterious death or mysterious disappearance. And we are going to revisit two cases today. I'm going to look at a couple of updates regarding the Quinton Simon case, and then we're going to discuss the very active and very dynamic case surrounding the tragic murders of the four students from University of Idaho. And so let's get right to it. I'm going to share my screen, and I will also be kind of reading some updates, like quick updates and whatnot from the news. So we'll do that. But yeah, talking about this today. And before I even do that, I need to just say thank you all for supporting the channel. I also have to advise that I will be taking a break, a mini break from doing Mystery Mystic Monday readings from like December, I don't know, 19th, I believe, until sometime in mid to late January. This breather allows me to restore my energies, focus on some other things I've got going on, and to come back rejuvenated and ready to do these types of readings. They are very much, they take a different, like, intuitive power and intuitive energy to be able to produce these readings. And so I have to restore my energies, and I'm not exactly sure what date I'm coming back. It'll probably be on a particular Monday in January. So I'll be sure to update you all in the community tab post so you know what's going on. And if you've made a recommendation for a case, don't worry, I have a list that I regularly refer to for case suggestions so I can then do readings on those cases. So if you have case recommendations, leave them in the comment section below or submit an email to mysterymysticmondays@gmail.com or my submission form. There's many ways you can reach me for a reading. And also, if you want to do a private mysterious circumstances reading, I do offer that on my website at abundantlifetarot.com. All right, let's get started. And let's take a look at the spread. Now, I've done an updates reading, or not reading, but revisit of Quinton Simon's case. So this will be like the second revisit because we have a new development that's happened. The development that's happened is Leilani Simon, Quinton's mom, has been indicted this week. I'm recording this as of Friday, December 16, 2022. She's been indicted by a grand jury for malice murder and felony murder. Those are the main charges. And there's a whole host of charges related to basically not telling the truth, okay? False reporting. So that happened. Also, her mom, Billie Joe Howe, was arrested. And I don't know if she's bonded out. I don't know that story, but she was arrested, I believe this week or maybe last week. I don't know. I'll look at the article in a moment. But something about being in contempt of court, and it's related to the juvenile case or juvenile custody case that she had going on, because she had, I believe, had custody of Quinton and his brother, his older brother. So there's a lot going on. There's a lot going on. So let me just show you. Here's a pic. One of the cards that came up early on in the opening oracle reading that I did for Quinton's case was the Hag card. And whoa, when I look at these pictures, when I look at the Hag card, and then I look at Leilani, and then I look at Billie Joe, I just have all kinds of feels. There's a part of me, a small part of me, that feels sorry for Billie Joe because she really was in a rock and a hard place. I don't know. There's this probably this desire to trust her daughter, a desire to believe her daughter is okay and cool, and she made a grave mistake in leaving her, grandchildren with her. I That's what I'm sensing is going on, but I could be wrong. And that backfired. That backfired, and then as far as the contempt of court, I'm not quite sure what that is about. I've heard speculation that it could be that because she was talking about the case with Leilani as it relates to the children, that could be in contempt of court because you maybe not supposed to do that. I don't know. I don't really know much about her charges, but we know a lot right now about Miss Leilani. Okay, so yeah, let's go back to that opening oracle reading. So we have girl and then we have hag. And honestly, this could represent Leilani and the hag could be Billy Joe Howe or vice versa. We have the tree. So it's like, to me, when I did this reading, it symbolized like a family tree. Okay. This was something done by someone in the family. I never got any intuitive hits that this was something done outside of the family tree, so to speak. I didn't get a sense that it was Leilani's boyfriend. Could be wrong. And the reason I'm saying that is because these cards up here, and then we have the door card. Below that, we have the spider card, and that is about, a female influence of kind of designing a web and secretive and at times manipulating the situation into her favor. So that came up. The umbrella card is about someone who needs sanctuary or needs protection and maybe not getting that protection. And so then we have the star card, which I attributed to there could be justice coming. There could be something illuminated, the situation we're going to get answers to. A lot of people had lost faith that justice was going to happen in this case. A lot of people thought that, and readers included, because I've watched a couple and I heard some people would say, oh, what did you hear? So and so thinks that he's in the water. Do you think that? I never once got a hit intuitively that he was in a body of water. And so I had to just I had to stay true to what I felt was right for what came up through my intuitive gifts. I always got a sense that he was probably in the landfill. And when law enforcement had indicated that they were searching there, and some people were like, well, they've been searching forever. He's never going to be found. I'm like, no, there's a reason. Their own intuition and their own like high level of expertise was saying that he was there. And that's ultimately where little Quinton's remains were found, in that landfill. Um, when they mentioned those dumpsters, those trash dumpsters, and they show pictures, I got a visceral reaction, like a sick to my stomach. And I was like, yeah, she did. There's a strong possibility that she threw that child in there, whatever evidence that she had. And so that's just how I felt. And I felt like justice was going to happen, or at least we were going to find out what happened. And I also didn't believe, and I mentioned that in the readings before, and you can check out those readings. I did not feel that he drowned, and that she's covering it up. My logical mind could say, well, maybe it was some sort of accident and she was covering that up, but that's not what came up in the cards. Um, let's look at the cards again, and I'm going to share with you in just a moment the what came out in the news for his case. So we have stump. That's something ending prematurely. A girl causing something to end prematurely, and then manipulating the situation and designing and crafting something to cover up with that umbrella card. Okay. Share all of this. I like to do these little downloads with you all for a number of reasons. One of the reasons is for those who are learning how to read the cards, you can learn a lot and glean a lot from watching other readers and how they interpret card meanings and seeing and having it, seen with a case. It's not, not always the easiest thing to to learn the cards with, but this is what we have. It also helps me grow as a reader doing these types of readings. I typically do love readings, career readings, life purpose readings, um, soul journey readings, at times touching on ancestral readings. It is, this is new to me of exploring missing persons, mysterious death cases as it relates to reading the cards. Okay, this is new for me. And I've been doing it now for, I mean, I've been doing it for a long time, but now putting it out on YouTube, it's been since October of 2021. And it's now December 2022. So I'm still learning very much so. And I'm okay to say that. I don't sit up here and fake the funk and put on a front like I'm all knowing. I often ask you all for your intuitive input because your intuitive input is just like mine. We're, also in this together to figure it out together. I see some psychics and some mediums readers. I don't really see this, but there's a certain air of like, I know the answers and I'm right, I'm right, I'm right. And I'm like, we can't always be right. And sometimes what we're picking up on actually is morphing into something else, or our understanding of it is different. So going back and retroactively looking at the cards is super informative. And if the case is still ongoing, as the situation has been unfolding, you can now kind of see a roadmap into what's happening and unfolding next. So that's why I like to do these things. I would love to do it live, but right now I'm just kind of taking a break on live streams. I do lives in my Facebook group, but I'll come back strong with live streams in 2023. I promise. So let's look at this. We got Alone in the World. Is this me? Bride in a Cage and Anger in Chains. You'll see why that's important in a moment when I read the Fox News article. Then we have October and Police Intervention. That is when Leilani was named a suspect, was in October, and law enforcement and police intervention was definitely a part of that. Now we're going to look at, I have my notebook. We have the questions. What was the nature of Quinton's disappearance? Did he escape? Is he lost? Was this an abduction or something else? So if you look over here, this first section of cards, we have the Page of Wands and the reverse Ace of Cups. This is about someone losing their cool, someone exerting physical action, a physical force with an object like the wands, a wooden object or something of that nature. And a law, like with the Ace of Cups, is about love and relationships and the new love. And he's so little. He's like, what, 20 months old? He's so little. And it's in reverse. The Ace of Cups is in reverse. So that means that there was no love there. That's really heartbreaking. It was heartbreaking for me to do the reading then. It's heartbreaking even more so to see the black and white articles about what Leilani is charged with. Okay. She has not been convicted and she is presumed innocent until proven guilty by a court of law. So we'll say that, right? Two or more is interesting to me. Now, to be seen, we have the uncle card and the vehicle. I knew a vehicle played a role in this scenario. And we're later finding out a vehicle very much was a part of this, moving him to this trailer parks, trash bins. That's what is alleged that she did. Someone close in relation helping her and kind of kind of helping her after the fact, and that there's signs. I wonder what the signs are. I still wonder about that. Um, who or what is responsible for his disappearance? And we have these cards, someone who should have taken care of him. I won't go too far into it. I'm just going to kind of look at some different things. Oh, we got arrest and caught over here. And Lonnie goes to trial. She's going to have like a different look, like looking really pulled together, maybe her hair in a bun, or like really looking like different than what we have seen her look like as of late. And I'm saying that because of the changed appearance, new hairstyle. I just feel like she's gonna try to present herself in a different light when she goes to trial, because she is going to, my intuition is saying she's going to try to say that something accidentally happened. You can think of the Casey Anthony situation. That is something I feel like she's going to hang her hat on. And I'm saying this because of this section here. We have the spring accident card, Forest Path Mossy, can't escape and choke, or what have you. I'm sensing that her attorney, her defense attorney, may try to approach this as this was an accident. Springtime could be when this finally goes to trial, or when we finally start to hear what she has to say. Hopefully we don't have to wait too long, but I mean, it's going to be well into 2023 that this is probably all resolved. Let me see. Look, another vehicle card situation, taxi, public transport came up. Mental jail. Just be careful with Leilani. She could be someone who may consider taking her life or what have you. So, anyways, yeah. So I'm going to stop sharing for a moment. I want to read to you all what the news articles are saying. So let me set that up. First, the Fox News article. So Leilani Simon reported her son missing October 5th. Georgia mom Leilani Simon was allegedly high on drugs when she used an object to beat little Quinton Simon to death before she discarded his body in a dumpster, prosecutors charge. Simon, 22, was arrested November 21st when investigators found her 20-month-old son's remains in the Chatham County landfill after combing through the city's trash for weeks. The 19-count indictment handed down Wednesday charged Simon with 3 counts of murder, concealing a death, making false statements, and other alleged crimes. Simon reported her son missing October 5th from her Savannah home and initially suggested to police that he had been abducted by an intruder. A week into the investigation, Chatham County Police Chief Jeff Hadley announced at a press conference that authorities believed Quinton was dead and Simon was the sole suspect. Days later, the mother of 3 was spotted at a local bar with her mom and friends slamming Patron shots. In a tearful interview with a local news outlet, she denied any involvement in her son's disappearance. There's an article here from the babysitter. Missing Georgia toddler may have drowned in a pool, babysitter says. And I never energetically felt that. I have cards too that'll come up often. It'll be like water, water, water. That didn't really happen in this reading. It says the indictment offers new details about the disturbing killing. Simon allegedly used an unknown object to beat her son, which did result in serious bodily injury and cause Quinton's death, the document says. The October 5th assault caused the toddler cruel and excessive physical pain, according to the court papers. That same morning, Simon allegedly traveled to Azalea Mobile Home Plaza and discarded her son's remains in a dumpster, the indictment charges. She allegedly admitted to police she had gone to the trash bins, but falsely insisted that all she had discarded was normal household garbage. Wow. Fox News Digital exclusively reported in November that the FBI and police have focused on the dumpsters at the Azalea Mobile Home Plaza, about 2 miles from her home. Within 48 hours of Quinton's disappearance, more than a dozen police officers and FBI agents had descended on the park, scouring the dumpsters for evidence and knocking on nearly every door, residents told Fox. The indictment says that Simon met her drug dealer October 4th and had used controlled substances before the killing. Simon has been jailed since her arrest. During a press conference Wednesday, Chatham County District Attorney Shalina Cook Jones vowed to hold Simon accountable. It's a matter that calls our very humanity into question, she said. These are the cases that keep us up at night. And he does have an attorney. Let me go back here while I have you all, because I found another article. What is this? I found another article that I thought was like, oh my God. This indictment accuses Leilani Simon of malice aforethought before death of son. This is what I wanted to read to you. So for count one, the malice murder charge, it charges Leilani with using malice aforethought. That would mean she took the time to think about killing him before she's accused of doing it. So that means the crime itself and then also the covering up of said crime, right? And then she's caught. Then there's count three, which is the second felony murder charge. It accuses Leilani of maliciously causing her son cruel and excessive physical pain, causing Quinton's death. Count five accuses Leilani of trying to cover it all up, starting with a 911 call. It says complainant advised her 1-year-old son is missing. She woke up, her door was open, advising he's unable to open a door. She thinks someone came in and took him, can be heard on the 911 call. The indictment goes on to say Simon willfully and knowingly gave a false report implying that Quinton Simon had been abducted by an unknown intruder. It's something she repeated to us in a WTOC exclusive interview weeks after Quinton's disappearance. That he's in somebody's house and they're feeding him. Maybe they wanted a baby or couldn't have a baby. Maybe they thought they were his savior, Leilani Simon said. And she said that like on a quick little local video, making a plea, I guess, of her innocence and a plea of her son being returned. Statement is here in these images. Really upsetting to see the indictment. It just really is. I mean, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Just no ifs, ands, or buts about it. It's just really heart wrenching. Um, Still do sense that she acted on rage and impulse. Um, I still firmly believe that. And it was just a matter of months here. We see that here. The things would kind of resolve themselves and come out. But yeah, who did this? Someone with European features. I don't know if she's highly attractive, maybe to some standards. Maybe when she's all pulled together and she wears makeup, she does have a kind of exotic look. And so there's that. Um, I would definitely classify her as a bit eccentric. Anywho, so that's Quinton Simon's update. That's his case. I'm not sure much about what is going on with Billy Joe Howe. wow, like their lives since October have been turned completely upside down. I mean, she probably doesn't have a job anymore. It just, wow, this is just mind blowing. And it's just so tragic because that child did not deserve that in the least. No child deserves that. And really and truly, how could you be so depraved as a mother to do something like that to your child? I will never understand. Now we're moving on to the Idaho Four, the four students who were brutally murdered, stabbed to death in the sorority house home where three of the four victims lived. And I just have some different thoughts about this. There's been so much speculation and rumors going around. It's really hard to keep it all straight. And I don't try to keep it all straight. I just kind of step back and just kind of be like, oh, okay, we'll see how things unfold. I love that you all have chimed in your different theories, your different questions, your different thoughts about what may have happened, because to me, I could see it. But there's so many different directions this thing is going in, right? Now, folks are saying there's a fraternity cover up happening. I don't know. There's this white Elantra, Hyundai Elantra that law enforcement, I assume, and I'll be honest with you, I think they knew about that way early on than they're letting on. It's at first it kind of can be scary because it's like, are you just now searching and scouring for surveillance videos when you know that they're like on a continual like recording and they can record over themselves after like 30 days. I would hope that law enforcement would have moved faster than that. I don't know, but I sense that they knew about this early on, and now they're kind of putting a little bit more pressure on who they presume who did this. So that's my thoughts on that. Um, we're going to look at some of the cards that have come up. We have Volcano, Hag, Rat, and Diamond. Um, a sense of betrayal, a malicious and violent encounter with someone. Someone there's a sense of value placed on one of the victims. I don't know how I feel about the theory with like fraternity brothers doing this. It's really hard for me to wrap my mind around these college students doing this. I don't know. Have empty brutality, grudge, aggression, numbness, accusations, cold, and antisocial. So that could, certainly support the arguments on why people feel the way they feel about that, right? We have Queen of Cups, Page of Pentacles, and Seven of Pentacles. There's been so many theories. Like there's every person who comes up and gives a statement, everybody's like, I suspect him, I suspect him, I suspect him. And it just, at this point, it's like, I'm waiting for law enforcement to give a bit more information on this before I say anything, before I even try to speculate any further. We have the house, trauma, karmic partner, out of town, investigator videos. Surveillance videos have now become a very big part of this whole thing. Computers. There is a lot of probably information on a computer searches, Google searches, exchange of emails. If one of the ladies who were killed, if they were stalked, there would perhaps be evidence of that on there. The computer card also can speak to a lot of rumors going around. There's so many rumors going around, and it's really, really like it will have your head spinning. Okay. We have the Sun card, so a male. Some people have speculated a woman could have done this, or a couple of women, perhaps. I'm not here to sit up here and say y'all wrong. I don't know. To really, I don't know. It could be a woman, but the energy I picked up on was that this was perhaps a man. Now, here, there is a Queen of Cups, Page of Pentacles, And, maybe there is a woman. Maybe this was carried out by three people, and one of them was a woman, a lookout. I don't know. But I really got a strong sense that it was a male, strong one at that. Lawyer. Either someone has a lawyer already, or someone has lawyer family members, or someone feels protected by a lawyer, or someone is a lawyer or studying to become a lawyer or an attorney. The law feels like it's on their side, is what there's this protection. And I sense that we got the house over investigator over lawyer card. That could be like, okay, the investigators have their sights set on someone, and they have to really tread lightly and carefully, because maybe the evidence isn't all there in the house. There, it could be really contaminated, as far as like the DNA evidence, for example. So they have to tread lightly, because whoever they're going to be dealing with, they are going to be lawyered up to the hilt. And there is going to be a lot of reasonable doubt being thrown. We have buried, y'all know I have a tough time pronouncing that word, twins in forest. Twins. Buried came up again, 0 to 15 kilometers, and then 15 to 35 kilometers. The cops have been expanding their search for this white Elantra. I think they said they've traveled up to 24 miles, looking for surveillance video tracking this white Elantra, is what I last heard. We got Autumn, and then we have Stalker waiting, watching and stalking. This card up here, I've always sensed that someone was stalking one or more of the victims. And just last night, I was watching Icamel, one of my like true crime YouTubers I follow, and he was watching, I think it was News Nation, and Brian Inton was interviewing a vape store. I don't know if he was a manager or an employee, but Maddie and Kaylee would go into this vape store on the regular. And when I live in California, I have my favorite like little shop I would go to myself. So, you become, it's not like people, I started already seeing people like, she would say all that. Yeah, you would. Like you don't understand. Like you build a relationship and a rapport with these folks that you're going in regularly every other day or every week, re-upping on your supply or whatever you're vaping. And you start having these conversations, and they get to know you very well. Not super well, but well enough where you can have certain conversations. So it was expressed that Maddie had said that Kaylee had like a stalker kind of situation going on. Now I'm going to stop sharing for a moment. Let's talk about that, because there's been back and forth on whether or not a stalker was involved. I don't care what anybody says. For that house and for those victims to be done in like this, there was some level of stalking. If it was just one person that was being stalked, perhaps that's what I'm feeling. But nevertheless, there's stalking going on. And you know what? The family may not know. The family may not know the full extent. Her best friend knew the extent. And as someone who has been stalked before when I was young, I know what that's like. Only maybe one of my friends knew what I was going through. Okay. So I didn't share all of that with my family. I didn't think that I needed to burden them with it. And that could have been the same with Kaylee, like, me and my friends, we got it handled. But check out the latest News Nation article about the vape store employee and what he had to say about someone constantly kind of being on Kaylee. It could just be somebody who was really into her, trying to get her to be with them. But the thing about it is, I sense the reason why my reading came up that she's a target is because somehow someone knew that this was probably her last few, like weeks or months at that spot. This was their opportunity to get her, because she's graduating in December. She would have been graduating last weekend. And she was gone. And this was an opportunity to get her. To me, this whole theory about, and it's possible, it's totally plausible, but the whole theory about Ethan and Zana getting into it with the frat boys, that's possible. But I'm like, does it carry the weight of a motive to then hurt not just them two, but then these other two? I don't know. Thoughts. Let me know your thoughts. But so that came out just last night. The Brian Enton interview with a vape store employee about a particular stalker. And so this doesn't sound like the same stalker situation that the cops were initially investigating with two other guys who was trying to talk to her. She's a beautiful young lady, like really gorgeous, right? So when you are a beautiful person, you have to sometimes deal with people who kind of come off a little stalkerish and always kind of in your face and always just doing too much, trying to get your attention, trying to get you to be with them when you don't really want to be with them. It's always something. So it could just be that, but I don't know. My spirit says otherwise. Anyways, so that came up. Female victim, that also spoke to me like someone's targeted, that this was an assault. The criminal who did this knew that these young people were probably intoxicated or drunk or alcohol was involved. So yeah, they use that to their advantage. And then they travel a bit further away from the crime scene afterwards, but that they lived at some point close, or at one point lived close to where the victims lived. And maybe they don't live there anymore, or they stopped living there, or moved or something. So maybe cops are looking at that. Who moved or who kind of is starting to be in one town over, because we have the out of town card over here, right? So weeks. It feels like eternity since this crime has happened, right? It really does. It feels like eternity. And like we're still waiting for some sort of movement, some named suspect to come about, and it hasn't. Oh, it's alarming because like the DNA results are taking a while too, but from all accounts, like who I guess they did prints or what have you. And so far, the perps, like, prints or whatever, or DNA, the initial testing that they do, I guess, what is it, CODIS, that is not producing anything. It's this person is unknown, clean record, not in the system. This is also upsetting, known to the victim. Over here, jealousy issues are, this is personal. Male suspect or male accomplice, guilty knowledge did the act. Some people have speculated that this is a S killer, like a serial killer, someone who did this. This is completely random. And I can see that. I can understand that because it does have the hallmark features of a serial killer attack. It does. It truly does. Like, if you've studied it like I did, it truly does. It says stranger lives near the scene of the crime. Additional evidence at the scene may be discovered. That's been happening with this mysterious glove. I don't know if that's related, by Chris McCunna, I think is his name, from the Interview Room channel. He found some, there's all these different bits that we're finding later that was found later. There was a motive for committing this crime. Details leading up to the murder may be worth investigating. And let's see, a closer observation of the victim's living space may provide clues. And that's what people have been really doing, is looking at this house and looking at who lived in proximity to this house, who's been inside this house, who has a connection to this house or once did, the house, the living situation. Cell phone records may provide important clues. This case will remain unsolved until key evidence is discovered. I think also the reason why the vehicle is, just a second, a reason why the vehicle, the white Hyundai Elantra, is important is because it's because if they can pinpoint that it was in that area at the time, it's not so much that they're going to be looking for DNA evidence on that vehicle. It's because that is more circumstantial evidence to build a concrete case against the person. I don't believe that it's just some witness who knows information. That's the reason why cops are all up in arms. And here's why. The cops are probably not wanting to let it be known that this is the suspect. They don't want to come out right out and say it. But when they put out a notice to the Canadian border about stopping that vehicle, that's a whole different ball game of you just being a potential witness with information to you actually having some involvement. And that clued me in. Okay, so let's see. Killer has a history of committing crimes. And that was kind of what was like, well, to me, like, well, maybe it is a serial killer, or maybe it's someone who's done little petty stuff that's been protected and had their little crimes expunged and covered up over the years. And I got a sense that family knew of this. It says, in the future, the killer may admit guilt. Then I did an official opening oracle reading. There's some sort of entanglement going on and something related to matters of the heart, someone being sacrificed, if you will. Let me see if argument or fight is a strong factor. So this also could lead credence to those who believe about the whole frat fight situation. Important details. Now, this is key. Important details are not being revealed to the public at this time. There's a lot more that the law enforcement body holds. So I know it can feel like, oh, they have no leads. They've got to go through 20,000 Hyundai Elantras registered in the state and whatnot. Know this. They have a lot more than what they've revealed. And you're going to be over time getting a little bit more glimpses into all that they have. It says a witness may not be fully disclosing all of the facts. And guess what came up again? Suspect lives near the scene of the crime. This person is antisocial. They do have regret. Now, this is, I'm thinking, speaking on, hold on one second, you all. Hold on one second. I'm like, what? Somebody keeps coming to. Okay, I'm back. I had to shoot someone. Sorry about that. You're probably like, where is she? Where did she go? So, um, where did I leave off? Share this with you all again. So this person, they wanted, they've already probably given a statement, or there's a triumph of lies here that they feel triumphant in feeling like emboldened, like they got away with something, when in fact I don't think they're getting away with it. And unfortunately, these young ladies are fated to suffer here. Someone was fated to suffer. Now we're gonna go and then we'll wrap up here. Questions that I asked for their case. Or this is it. Yes. And questions. We have the high priestess. You shared about the perp. There's a vehicle. Vehicle that became of importance here. You have the vehicle, and we have the Knight of Coins that has a vehicle. It's not typically what you would see in the Knight of Coins, a traditional Knight of Coins. I wish I had one around, but I don't. Got a car in it, and that's going to be critical. There's something critical about that vehicle. And it's not just because there's a potential witness. Okay, so this is interesting. I always thought the Nine of Swords was kind of alarming because it told me that this person has a strong interest in knives. That probably isn't like something out of the ordinary in Idaho. I don't know, but this person also has access to a huge collection, whether that's their parents' collection or their own collection of knives. And they are strong. We see that here. This person may have dimples or a cleft chin and or a cleft chin. And answers are coming though. Oh, there is there is something about this person that either they worked at the university. Here's the university card here. Either they worked at the university or they go to school there, or they went to school there, or they live on campus, they live near the campus. There's something about it. There's cafes, maybe they hang out, troll the cafes or what have you. Airplane, they could be later a flight risk, or maybe they're whirly and they travel a lot, and maybe their passport needs to be yanked. So there's that. Let's see. Dark hair color kept coming up for me as a theme. Some people were like, it's the boyfriends of some of the victims who may have been involved. I'm not getting a strong vibe on that either. I could be wrong as well on that, but I'm not really picking up a strong vibe at this point. But I could be wrong, right? We've got the FBI, CIA, and we have bald, so somebody who could be prematurely balding, maybe here, and or maybe starting here, where your receding hairline, or maybe they end up shaving their hair and now are bald. Could be something like that. Crime scene, maybe there's a hair fiber that's been left. So we have the black hair color and crime scene. It could be something along those lines. Okay. That could be a second perp, or it could be someone who's like accomplice after the fact, or aiding and abetting afterwards. It could be something along those lines, or helping the main perp to do this, or to cover this up, or perhaps drive a getaway car. Who knows? Could be all of those things. Knight of Swords. What was the question to this? What's next for the investigation? Knight of Swords. There's still gonna be forward momentum. A lot of people feel like the case has already gone cold. I don't sense that at all. And the Knight of Swords affirms that the FBI is hot on their trails. And I don't sense that this is a case that is short on leads. This is a case that there's probably a lot of evidence to sort through and a lot of leads to navigate through, and not enough resources to do it at this point. That's what I'm sensing. And I'm saying that because of the 10 of Wands, the burden of all that they have on them. Finally, we had asked about any connection between the perp and the victim. Now, this is where it gets a little interesting for me. Okay. This is where it gets a little interesting, because I asked, is there a connection between the perp and Kaylee? We got the Ace of Cups. Then I asked, is there a connection between, let's see, Maddie and this perp? We got the Seven of Pentacles, then Zana, 10 of Swords, And then Seven of Wands. Below here, we have victim or victim's family or families was familiar with the killer. Premeditated murder, killer planned out the details in advance, and contamination of DNA evidence may be influencing this case. These cards here told me that the draw for this crime, what brought this killer to them, to their doorstep, was Kaylee, because all of the other cards are like a negative card. Not negative, bad, but just you have affirmative for yes, negative for no. And to the question, was it Kaylee that had the connection or draw this person in? And the cards indicate yes. She also was the one who sustained the most severe injuries. I mean, oh my God, hearing some of the descriptions coming out about what kind of injuries she sustained, all of them really, but her getting the worst of it was interesting. Now, some people speculate that it could be because she put up a fight, and so she's going to take the brunt of all that's coming at her. Totally could be right, right? But also you could look at these cards and say, well, maybe it wasn't her, and it's all of these people, Maddie, Ethan, and Zana. They all have kind of negative cards. Maybe it's them, and she's the odd one out. She has nothing to do with it. But that's not how I specifically asked the question. The question was, what are the energies surrounding if there's any connection between the perp and the victim? Then I had a check, like a box for each. Kaylee, Ace of Cups would indicate yes. Maddie, no. Zana, no. Ethan, no. But could be read a different way. You could look at it totally different. Like with Zana, with the Ten of Swords, it's like totally, and this could even be kind of describing maybe where her were, to her back, or I don't know. It's just, God, it's just really upsetting. And the Ace of Cups deals with a wanting of a new love. Love. And even if I wish I could zoom in here to make it bigger, but you can see that word here, love, feelings, proposal, and perhaps a rejection. If the family didn't know about this perp then, before the crime, they probably will know after, or they know something now. And it may not be Kaylee's family that knows something now. I'll just say that. Folks, I just wanted to do a little revisit. I'll revisit other cases as more information comes up. And I'm hoping for an update soon for Shanquella Robinson's case with the Cabo 6. I'm still waiting for more information to come through, more updates. And to date, no arrest has been made, which is very upsetting. And yeah, so maybe the next time we get together, it'll be discussing Shanquella's case or another update with one of these cases. But again, I don't always like to just keep throwing cards at a situation. I like to go back and revisit and look at how things are unfolding and seeing how they're coming up. Like the vehicle cards. There was a vehicle in the Knight of Coins, and then the vehicle oracle card, that like this being of significance now. And look how it's playing out. It is playing out that this is of significance. And so it'll be interesting to see how the further things unfold and develop. If you all have questions on like what's next, we can explore that in another updates revisit, not a full-on reading, but we can look at the cards and see like, okay, what could be unfolding next, So for example, I think I asked that, what is the investigation? That would be these cards here. Burden for weeks of having to navigate through all of this evidence. So 10 of Wands, could represent weeks. Weeks are tied to the timing, or wands are tied to the timing of weeks and the season of spring. We have Eight of Swords, winter time, kind of being bound and dealing with this. And even this is representing the perpetrator kind of being in a mental jail. I think we saw that card related somewhere. There is. That was for Quentin's case. Oh no, there it is. Mental jail. It also is tied to the timing of months in the season of winter. So the Knight of Swords represents winter. So things are going to be moving. Excuse me. Things are going to be moving and swiftly. It just, we may not be privy to all that's going on behind the scenes. Yeah. So just expect some updates to be coming, but for us, where we sit, it's going to feel like things are moving fast enough. But for law enforcement, every day they're hitting the ground running. The alive card is sitting underneath here, and that's saying that this case is active and alive and it's not cold and dead, right? So, yeah, that's it, folks. Do me a favor on your way out. Please hit the like button. It does help the channel immensely, just doing that simple little action. And also subscribe if you haven't already done so. I love hearing from you in the comment section, especially whether we are talking about cases or you're suggesting cases for me to explore, or you're giving me your intuitive insights, or we're not even talking about cases at all. We might be talking about our favorite decks, or ways to work with decks, or spreads that I've come up with that I want to share with you all to give a try. I want you to join in on that. So please do. All right, friends. Oh, another coughing spell. Talking all day. I'm going to let you guys go. Bye for now.